Welcome to Agents Growth Academy. I am your headmaster, Jim Schubert, and I have none other than the person who I would not even be here doing this show if he weren't part of my life. His name is Josh Tapp from The Lucky Titan, which is a phenomenal podcast in its own right. And he is going to talk to us today about mastering your influence and getting paid to do it, which I know a lot of you are trying to do as insurance agents, mastering your influence. I've been reading a fantastic book recently called Never Split the Difference. Josh, have you read that before?
I have not. Sounds like a great one.
Ooh, Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. The guy was the lead hostage negotiator for the FBI on the international side for years, and the wisdom that he imparts on influencing people to do what you want them to do is priceless. But Josh, I'm thrilled to have you, man. I want to kind of get right to it. I'll let the audience know real quick. You and we met because you had somebody from your team reach out to me magically, it seems like, at the perfectly right time, because I was literally considering getting back into podcasting after a few years. It had been a while. And I swear I didn't post anything about it. I don't know if somebody had some kind of super secret alien technology that got in my brain, but I got a message from somebody that works for you on LinkedIn and said, hey, we've got this product called Podcast Multipliers that basically helps you take away all the backroom stuff to produce your show. Are you thinking about creating a podcast? And I was like, how did they know that?
Secret cameras, right? They're everywhere.
I know, seriously. But that's how we've gotten to know each other. And man, it's been a phenomenal ride. I swear I'm going to let you talk here in a second, but I'll let everybody know just some of the results. And here's what life looked like, okay? A few years ago, Josh, not Josh. Josh is probably doing his own podcast then too. But I had a different podcast called Big Time Small Business where I was targeting small businesses for us being able to write their insurance. And I was spending hours interviewing people and doing the show notes and writing emails and contacting guests and doing all the social media posts and everything. It just I literally didn't have enough time, and I had just taken over the agency and I just did not have the time. And I got 17 episodes in and I just burned out. I turned it off and it was a shame. I hated to do it. But once I found Josh, 8 years later, and I had the idea to create Agents Growth Academy, I think this is episode 45. And as of this recording, I am proud to say that we have just crossed the 50,000 download threshold, baby. What's up?
Woo woo! It's a huge milestone.
Yeah. So Josh, give me the skinny. By the way, I'm now hitting, because of you. Thank you. I'm now hitting about 10,000 listens a month, which is awesome. So
yeah,
I've done enough talking, man. I want to get to know who you are. Tell me, first of all, where are you? What are you doing? And tell me about mastering your influence and getting paid for it. What the heck does that mean?
Yeah. And I'll break that apart into a couple of things. And first off, Jim's one of our favorite people. Everybody on my team knows him. They're constantly like, so when is Jim going to come to Idaho? And we're like, oh yeah, we should probably do that soon. But so you guys have an amazing house. Make sure you guys subscribe to this show because it's an awesome show.
Thank you.
The truth be told, Jim, is you're not the only one we get that response from, right? How the heck did you find me in the perfect moment?
Yeah.
And truth be told is we never know, right? You may have gotten 15 other messages from us at some point and it just went right over your head.
Yeah.
But the thing is mastering your influence is about being present when people need you, right? And so like your story is truly what I believe every marketer needs to learn in their lives. Instead of trying to be this flashy, up in people's faces, loud, annoying person, it's like, when are people experiencing true pain?
Yeah.
And when do they really need help?
Yeah.
And how can you position yourself to be there when they need you? And if you look at it that way, it takes all fear out of selling. It takes all fear out of marketing. The fulfillment's very easy because you're resonating with them. They love you because you're actually helping them solve a problem. And to me, when it comes to podcasting in particular, I feel like podcasting solves most of those problems, most of those major pains. And most people don't even realize it. You know, Jim, I was reflecting on a conversation we had probably a month and a half into our engagement with you, you know, and you're like 6 or 7 interviews in and you're like, Josh, I think I get it. I think I see the power of podcasting now, and like how many different facets and benefits and blessings there are to having a show. And I just had that exact same conversation this morning with somebody else. That's why I was reflecting on the conversation. I was like, oh yeah, Jim mentioned that. And so did this other person. And so did this other person. And it's because it's one of those things you don't understand until you do it. There's just so much power in being truly influential, not the quote unquote influencer. I think that's like the dumbest title on the planet, because most influencers are horrible people. Sorry if you consider yourself an influencer. The true leaders, the thought leaders like Jim, are the people who are changing the world. And that's what we get behind, and is honestly our mission as a company.
Well, I have to say, man, you are one of the biggest givers that I know. Every single time I talk to you, I get my little iPad pencil out and I start making notes. And I hear you say over and over in any given conversation, oh, I've got somebody for that. Let me connect you with them. Oh, you know what? They might be able to help you with that. I tell you what, from an influence standpoint, I think that's actually your secret sauce. You are such a giver. And we talk about that a lot on the show, because I think a lot of insurance agents who would otherwise be considered, you know, that we're gonna have to come up now that Josh doesn't like the term influencer, we're gonna have to come up with a different term. But
it's Titan. It's Titan. We've already coined it.
It's a Titan. Okay. I like it. I like that. But yeah, the people who are Titans in our industry are the ones who give the most and are thinking about ways that they can help other people.
Yeah.
So that's
and honestly, Jim, you bring up a really great point, man. What's funny is all of us have taken those marketing courses or sales courses. If you've been in the insurance world, I've actually never gone into insurance, so I can't speak 100% from experience, but I did my undergraduate degree in finance, and financial advisors, insurance agents, and real estate agents deal with all of the exact same problems. Yeah. And the truth be told is that they're constantly told, here's how you need to do your marketing. Here's how you need to do this. Here's how you need to do this. You need to have lead magnets. You need to have courses. You need to have Facebook ads. You need to have, the list goes on. There's 5,000 things you need, quote unquote, to have. When truth be told, you already have what you need to be successful. And we've trained our entire sales team to do this too, is that what you just mentioned, right? That quote unquote secret sauce for us is, instead of trying to give people, hey, here's my other course, here's a freebie, here's something I'm going to send you in an email, it's giving them an actual connection. That's what people want, right? Because like, Jim, you've got all these other problems in your life, not to say, oh, you're a problematic person. We all have it. Sure. Is that there's all sorts of problems in your life that need solved. And so my life's mission is, anytime somebody says, I'm having a problem, and if I can't immediately think of the person who could help solve that problem, I go and find that person and then I connect them, because now I have this whole list of people. So when somebody's like, I have this problem, I'm like, you need to meet this person. They will fix this for you. And if you make that your life mission, it's game over. I mean, insurance sales, for crying out loud, everybody in the city, all the business people, connect them. Yeah. They need those connections, right?
Yeah. You know what? Everybody needs to hit the 30-second rewind right now to go listen again to what you said, because you make it your life's mission to connect people with each other in order to solve problems. And you are right. Anybody in insurance, whether they're writing personal lines, commercial lines, life and health, lots of people that are able to help other people. You and I, very early on, you connected me with Amy Collette, who is the person who is big shout out to Amy from Unleash Your Inner Author. Not a paid advertisement. But she is the person who is now my book coach for the book that I'm writing. And she and I met 2 days ago. And I told her that I was recording with you. She's like, "Oh, tell Josh I said hello. I love Josh."
I haven't seen her in a while. I need to reconnect with her.
But I mean, you know, things like that. I never would have thought, okay, I have it in me to write a book. If you hadn't suggested to me that was a possibility and followed it immediately up with, and I have somebody I can connect you with. And what did that do for you? I mean, like you weren't necessarily getting, you know, anything from that. I mean, there might be some kind of fee in there somewhere, but you weren't, you weren't doing it selfishly. Like you knew that there was power in that. And I have since referred her to other people. And it's, you know, it's that kind of mentality that I think people need to develop. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you know, Jim, and that's such a funny example because I refer Amy like crazy, and it was not selfish because, like, to me, I was like, I love her model. She does it in such a unique way. So just to kind of give people an idea. I mean, she's taking your book and instead of going the traditional publisher route, she's kind of helping you almost self-publish. But she does such a fantastic job of helping you pull the book out of yourself without taking up all of your time because we're all wicked busy. So I work with wicked busy people, right?
Yeah. I love that you're using the Rhode Island term, by the way. Thank you.
It must be like awesome. A Northern Hemisphere thing.
It's a New England thing. It's wicked awesome.
That's wicked awesome. But I work with busy people. And so when they're coming to me and like, Josh, I don't have the time to do a podcast, but I want more influence. And I'm like, great, I can get you there on a podcast so you don't have time, but I am not a book coach. I do not know how to help you get a book out there, but Amy does. And so with Amy, I referred her probably 25 people. And she finally came to me. She's like, Josh, can I just start paying you for these referrals? I'm like, yes, of course you can. Right.
Yeah.
Get paid for your influence. Right. That's kind of.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to ask you. How does that part come in? Tell me a little bit more about that. How have you turned that into a titan of an empire for yourself? Because people you are doing very well for yourself with your companies. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I try to be humble, but yes, we're doing well. But it's simply because we're leveraging this principle, and I think people overthink it. They think that they have to automate processes and like have spreadsheets. It's like it's literally just be a good human and help people, like give back, right? But there's two things, Jim, and this is where I want to caveat this because some people are probably listening to this going, yeah, whatever, cool people, move on, right? But what happens is if you're like, nobody ever refers me anybody, you need to do some self-reflection. Say, when was the last time you referred somebody, one person, right? That's the problem. Guys, I can honestly tell you, I've had 1,500 conversations with successful entrepreneurs in the past like 3 years. And in these conversations, I have had at least 800 people. I am not exaggerating this. 800 people who said, oh, we should totally do a cross promo. I totally want to refer you people. You know how many people have actually referred me somebody? 4.
Wow.
4 people. I'm sitting here with one of them. Nobody ever straight refers you people. Nobody does it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If you want to stand out in your industry, I'm going to challenge all of you to do this and just watch what happens. Pick somebody who you see needs clients right now. Not somebody small. I'm saying, so if you're an insurance agent, go look at like your local, I don't know, go to your BNI or whatever, your chamber of commerce, find the person who's like the most popular in the room and then go to them. And I want you over the next week to send them 5 referrals, like email introduction referrals, just saying, hey, this is somebody who I think could use your service. I think you two should talk. Just watch what happens. If you send them 5 people, they're like, oh my gosh, this person is a serious referrer. It creates this space that they feel like they have to fill, and they will refer you people back. I promise you. It's crazy to watch what happens with that.
That's really interesting that you say the number. Well, first of all, that is a fantastic concept. And I love that you just issued a challenge to my audience. Thank you. I don't think anybody's done that yet. Maybe Tommy Breedlove. Billy Wagner was on this show, and a lot of you in our audience know Billy. Fantastic guy. I'm reading his book right now, Business Masterclass. And clean shaven Billy. One of my favorite things about Billy is there it is. He's very clean shaven because he lasered all the hair off his face so that he could save those precious few minutes in the morning so that he could spend more time with his family.
I love
it. The guy's an animal, and I love Billy. But one of the things Billy talks about is building a referral-based business and finding and rewarding the people who send you the first 5 referrals, basically making them a preferred partner and then giving them access to all these other things that are pretty easy to give them. Like, hey, come use our meeting space, or we'll, do training for your company. Let's say it's a real estate agent, because he works a lot with personal lines. So they're trying to get a lot of referrals from real estate agents and mortgage brokers and things like that. Hey, we'll do some training on how to market your business, because we're pretty good at marketing ourselves. Right. And again, going back to what you're saying, like giving again. Right. But I love that you issued that challenge. Thank you so much. And I have to say, you talk about like the warm email introduction. You are the king of that. I have never had anyone else in my life that has made more warm email introductions to other people that, whether they can help me or not, potentially help me. And most of them have. And even if I don't end up working with some of them, I usually learn something from them that I wouldn't have known otherwise. And my life has changed for it. So thank you for that, sir.
Oh, no problem, man. I appreciate that. Do you mind if I share my tactic on that?
Please.
It's kind of crass and gross. I hope people don't get nastied out by this. Do you guys know what toilet time is?
Yeah.
Every human on the planet has about 5 to 10, if you're a man, 10 to 15 minutes on the toilet every day. You're not doing anything except maybe scrolling through social media or whatever, right? I take that time whenever I'm on the toilet and I connect people. And I send emails off. I kid you not, I'll send 60 of them a day, because I'm like, I wouldn't be doing anything else. I was sitting here, right? But this is what's fun. Once you've made those intros, it's okay to ask them, be like, hey, if I keep sending you people, could I get a cut out of the deal?
Yeah.
It's okay to ask that. I'll throw numbers out here. I'm not trying to like wow people or anything, but we do about $300,000 a year in straight profit from me just doing those referrals, right? Just making those connections.
Insane.
And that's
300,000 in straight profit.
Because I have no cost to it. My cost is me sitting there on the toilet. That's why I tell people, I'm like, I make $300,000 on the toilet, and people are like, what?
You know who needs to be your show's sponsor because of that? We insure a company called Who Gives a Crap. And it's an Australian, no joke. It's an Australian toilet paper company that makes toilet paper sustainable means from bamboo.
Oh, that's awesome. Because Charmin is literally right now, they've been hitting me up trying to sponsor my show because I talk about it. I'm like, I just feel weird. I feel weird doing that.
That's awesome.
My mother's over there, like with her hand.
I'm so proud of my boy.
So proud of my boy. He made money off of the toilet. But guys, the reason I want to bring that up is that everybody thinks like, oh, I don't have time to do that. It's like, find a time like that. Maybe you're not weird like me and want to use your phone on the toilet, right? I do end up, I go until my legs go numb. That's usually what I do. And I'll send off, and by go, I mean, I send off, I got to clarify that. I send off invitation or turning south. I know. It's like, we'll have the team edit it out. Don't worry. But I spend that time sending off, those introductions, and I'll just keep note of them on my phone of like, hey, this person should connect with this person. And it's just, whenever I need business, I've been doing, so I do it every day. I'll send like 4 or 5 off to, or 4 or 5 different people, 4 or 5 introductions every day. And doing that every day, I'm building a true relationship with 4 to 5 people. And what will happen is when I need something, when I'm like, hey, we're trying to do this launch, maybe our business is starting to struggle, I email those people and I ask for help. I say, hey, Jim's going to get an email about this. Anybody who's on my list will. It's like, I'm going to reach out to everybody and say, hey, we just hired a consultant. We hired somebody in to come help us with our sales team and structuring some sales stuff. She's costing us $100,000 to hire her. So we just paid her. And I'm like, I'd really like to not have to pay for that out of my pocket. Do you know, I'm looking for 10 sales in the next month. Can you send me a couple referrals? Every time I do that, I kid you not, I will get hundreds of leads pour in the door, hundreds of them. And we're full like that, right? Anytime we launch a new offer, that's what we do. And it's not weird. It's not like you're sounding like a beggar. I'm coming at them saying, hey, I've provided you real value. Can you help me back? I scratched your back, scratch mine. And I have never had somebody give me any sort of negative response to that message. A lot of times they're like, thank you for your transparency, your honesty. Like, this is awesome. So it's awesome. Beneficial.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm curious about one thing. How do you figure out who to connect with each other? And also, are you, well, let me just ask it that way. I want to hear what your answer is.
Yeah. I mean, because my answer to that would be is there's pools of problems, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, right, we all, especially as entrepreneurs, we always have a brain. If you're an insurance agent, you're like, how can I slip insurance into this conversation, right? Yeah. Your brain just naturally does that because you're trying to make a sale. But when somebody needs insurance, let's use that as an example, right? What other things problems are they probably having when they're actually needing insurance, right? If you're insuring companies, and they're trying to get benefits packages for their employees, I'm just going to go on a broad spectrum here.
Sure.
Highly likely they're having hiring issues. They're probably having problems in their HR department. Yep. They are probably, because they're growing so quickly and needing benefits packages, they probably have marketing problems, right?
Yeah.
Those 3 problems have about 15 different ways to solve them, right? For me, where I'm in the podcasting space and my brain's always thinking podcasting, when people come into my world, they're saying, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a thought leader.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, what does it take to be a thought leader? They need a podcast. They need a book. They need a good lead generation strategy. They need to have a course. They need to have good social media presence. The list goes on and on, right? And so what I will do every time I meet somebody, I just have this simple spreadsheet. I literally go through, and when I meet them, I put right next to them what they do. So it makes sense. So I'm like, okay, this person is a book coach. This person is XYZ. It's not this big, long notes, CRM, all these shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm ever like, who do I refer today? I open that spreadsheet and I say, oh, hey, Jim's launching a new course, which I don't know if he even wants me to talk about this yet, but hey, he's going to be launching a new program. That's going to be amazing and you should all buy it. But I'm like, hey, he works with insurance agents. I know for a fact that he works with insurance agents. And oh, by the way, I've had 5 different insurance agents on my show, and I remember them because I've taken the time to get to know them, right? They're on my list. I could just do a control F search and find insurance agent. And I just send those people an email connecting them with Jim, right?
Yeah.
It's that easy, guys.
It's pretty simple. And you can filter that spreadsheet too, by type of business or whatnot. And you alluded to it.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I'll be real. I don't do this with every person. It's usually my favorite people. Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like sometimes there's just people you're like, I want them to be in my life forever. So I will refer them people. But if it's somebody I know is just a jerk and I don't want to promote them, I don't.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. You get to choose who you spend your time with. Right. And we are, we are some of however that phrase goes. Like we are the 5 people that we spend the most time with.
5 people around us.
There you go. Something like that. Well, and you answered what I was going to follow up with, which is, you're looking for problems, and whether it's an assumed problem or if it comes up in conversation, that is a problem, that you can include that on the spreadsheet so that when you're connecting people, when you and I were having some banter off air beforehand, you were making notes and I was making notes. And when you were talking about people that you were going to connect me with, it was always after, now that I think back to it, you were always writing something down about who you were going to connect me with after there was a quote unquote problem that I mentioned. Now, problem doesn't have to mean like it's an issue. It's something negative. Right. It's like, it's an opportunity. Like, right.
Exactly.
So I was talking about a course I'm developing, and we'll talk about that. Yeah. So developing a course. There's a little teaser for everybody out there for Agents Growth Academy on how to create an automated recruiting machine. So anybody having issues recruiting qualified licensed insurance agents without paying a ton of money to recruiters? Sorry, recruiters. So I figured out in our agency how to really reduce all the back end work that it takes to work things like Indeed and getting people to apply and scheduling and all that stuff, and kind of wrapped it up in one nice little package that you can create this automated recruiting machine so that you can spend more time actually interviewing people and bringing people on your team. And when I was talking to Josh about that, one of the things I said was like, yeah, I'd like to be able to get this out to a wide audience. And he said, well, actually, we've got a program where, we can have people promote this for you. And you had a solution. And then there were a couple of other people that you had made notes that you were going to connect me with in terms of branding different things. So yeah, man, it's brilliant. I love what you're doing. I'd love to know real quick. I know a little bit about it and I haven't heard it in a while, but I'd love our audience to just hear for a second the power of podcasting, specifically from the standpoint of agents who want to master their influence. If they know something, even if it's, let's say they're going after a niche business, right? Like security guards, let's just say, and somebody wants to create a podcast that serves that niche market, but can, inject help along the way about insurance, or use that network basically. Tell us about the power of podcasting and tell us how your podcast is doing right now and how you got there.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Lots of good questions in there. I could break that apart for days.
Sorry. I asked you a lot of questions at once.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll try to remember them all. So the first thing is, when it comes to podcasting in general, people think about it so backwards. They think about it like the 14-year-old kid who's making millions of dollars on YouTube, quote unquote. Nobody makes $1 million on YouTube except for like Mr. Beast. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Secondly, is that they look at it as, okay, well, I've got to make a whole bunch of content. I've got to have millions of people following me. That's not the true power of a podcast. A podcast is very, very different. A podcast is what we call an authority play, right? It's a platform that gives you the opportunity to let other people brag about themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
When people look at podcasting, they're like, okay, well, how do I get those listeners? I need to learn how to run ads. I need to have a website. I need to have all these different things. A podcast is the fastest way in the door to any of your clients. Okay. If you're saying, hey, Josh, I want to sell insurance to billionaires, I would say start a podcast today, because let me just share my story on this, right? I've had 4 different shows, the Lucky Titan being the most recent one. And I was working with local businesses, love them to death. I was just sick of like fighting over $500 payments. It was driving me crazy. I'm like, I want to sell a $100,000 package and not have a concern with it. Yeah. And so we started the Lucky Titan, and I was like, I want to start interviewing highly successful people. I'm like, I want to get to where I can interview billionaires. It'll probably be 5 years from now. I interviewed one guy, asked him who he knew, told him what I was trying to do. He sent me 5 different billionaires, and I interviewed those people as like my first 7 episodes of my show. Billionaires with a B, right? Whoa. I have done business with 4 of those 5 at this point.
Wow.
Okay? Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Because what a podcast does is it creates a trust, a connection of trust with you and the person that you bring on the show better than any other tool I've ever seen.
Yeah. And
it's because you're giving them an opportunity to tell their story and for you to connect emotionally with them as a human. And what's so interesting is after post-interview, if you'll do exactly what we've been talking about, like, hey, I've got some people I want to refer your way, right? Yeah. It'll open the door. But what's beautiful about it is you could be interviewing. Let's just put this as an example, right? Like, hey, I want to do security. You said, who was it? Security guards. Yeah. Random niche, right? I'm surprised that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. You pick something, pick something that makes sense, right? But yeah,
right. I tend to say shoot for the stars. Don't go for people who don't have money. I say look at people. If you're selling insurance, you're selling anything, is find the people who have the money first.
Lawyers,
and then lawyers, doctors, entrepreneurs, right? The people who have money first, and then you can then pivot to help the people who actually need your help.
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Because you've
Fair.
got to have the money first. So that's kind of a general business principle. But that being said, is you start a show interviewing those people, because successful people like to tell their story. It sounds like, oh, they like to brag. Yes, but that's part of it. But if you reach out to the right people, they want to come tell their story, because most of them in the local arena have never been interviewed. This is like being on the local news to them when you're like, hey, you want to come on my podcast? Even
Yeah.
if it's literally your mom and your dad watching the show at this point,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't care,
Yeah.
right? But just doing that activity, bringing them on your show, it will open the door for you. I guarantee you. We see pretty much, I always boast like 100% close rate on my podcast, is like anybody who comes on my show, they either buy from me or I will refer them somebody who they will buy from eventually.
Yeah.
And I make it my goal in life to just say, hey, I'm just going to push them somebody who needs their help, or they, anyways, vice versa.
Yeah.
That simple thing for us, right, has pushed our show. The listenership has grown crazy. We do about 300,000 downloads a month right now from my podcast.
Whoa.
Yeah, lots of listenership.
Whoa.
But like for me,
for
I don't
perspective,
really
I said earlier that I'm now getting 10,000 a month, and I thought I was hot stuff.
You are hot stuff, Jim. Don't even let yourself think otherwise. But so we're in the top echelon of podcasts. But what was interesting, we weren't pushing for listenership. That's not my main target. My main focus is the guests, because on this show alone, we've interviewed like 280 some odd people for the show. Yeah, I've done business with almost every single person on the show.
Wow.
So that's the big difference maker, right? We've done, and I just want to throw this out there as examples. There's clients of ours and myself, we've done multiple different deals where we're selling other people's stuff. But I recently did an 8-figure deal. It was $10 million deal between two companies, and I got a fat cut out of that deal. They both gave me equity in their companies for just putting them together. Okay, these are two big tech companies. They're like, I want this deal to go through. It was a $10 million transaction between the two of them, and they both paid me a fee and gave me equity in the company. Like, where else do you get something like that, right? And I'm
for
not
being
the
a
only
connector, and that was all for being a connector.
Yeah, I didn't have to have a business, a website, an employee. That was just me connecting two people who came on my show, right? Wow. And the truth be told, guys, is I am not the only one to do that. We have clients who do the same thing. I mean, Jim's done some amazing stuff with this. Of finding people like sponsor the show who become like true partners for him. Like it's an amazing way to generate cash, and people are just looking at it totally wrong. Like, well, how do I get millions of followers? Like that's like the lowest form of payment is by getting 1 million followers. Like you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars with like 2 people listening to your show.
Your mom and dad.
The power of podcasting. I know you open a can of worms with that one, so I hope I see.
I love it. Well, I knew you'd have something to say about it, my friend. That's fantastic. Are you ready for the rapid fire round, my friend?
I love these. Let's do it.
I love it. I love it. Love it. All right. I've added a couple of new ones for a specific reason. What are you, name me one thing that you're outsourcing.
Outsourcing. I outsource actually some of our lead generation. I outsource a lot of our lead generation for our company.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Do you want me to name some few more? I have like 15 more if you want to give you more. I outsource a lot.
Yeah. Give me a couple more. What else? Lead generation.
So we do lead generation. We have I have a couple VAs who do some of the administrative work for us. We have people who I outsource little bits and pieces of the work that we do for our clients, like Jim, right? We have different people doing different graphic design or copywriting work for different people. So, I mean, mostly for us, it's marketing stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. And I presume it saves you a lot of time.
Very much so. Very, very much so. I think people undervalue outsourcing. Some people are like, oh, I hate doing it. But the truth be told is you can make so much more money if you'll just let somebody else who's the pro do it. Just pay them for it.
Yeah.
Well worth
so
the time.
We recently did that with our agency, kind of pulled the trigger about a month ago. And they are our newest sponsor, Marble Box. Got to give them a big shout out. So Marble Box is a company started by a good friend of mine named Ani, and Ani has a team of people in India, and we are getting to know each of these people very well. Love us some Marble Box employees, but basically they allow us to take all of the kind of low value tasks, let's say, that don't add value to the client experience. on a direct one-to-one basis. So that's things like policy processing and agency bill transacting and even commercial marketing and some other things like that, downloads. So things that my audience is, Josh is nodding his head. He's probably going, I don't know what that stuff is, but our audience knows what a lot of that is. But they literally in the first month did 560 different tasks. And this is one employee, by the way. The cool thing about MarbleBox from an E&O perspective, and I don't know about a lot of other outsourcing companies for the insurance industry, but I do know that this seems to be unique. For every MarbleBox employee we bring on, they automatically have a counterpart who is quality control. They are looking at every single task that person does to have another set of eyes on it to make sure that it's they're doing what they're supposed to do. And we brought them on at a time when we were actually down a person. We were in between account managers for personal lines, and we desperately needed help kind of keeping up with all these, kind of low value tasks that we still had to have time to do that and engage with the clients. MarbleBox basically saved the day. I mean, I don't think we would have been able to keep up with this person's book of business if we hadn't outsourced all those things to MarbleBox. So got to give them a huge shout out. Yeah. Big time stuff.
That's amazing. Yeah. I definitely want to check those guys out, because we found that there's so many tasks that we do in a day that are just so not worth the time. Yeah. And if you get somebody who actually will just take ownership of it, is huge. I love the fact they have somebody do quality control. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Very unique. All right. What about payment processing? Do you use a company for that?
Yeah, we have a couple payment processors that we use. One of them is out of, what is the name of their company? Oh my goodness. Swipe It. That's the name of the company.
Stripe?
Swipe It?
Swipe It. Okay.
So we use Stripe and Swipe It. Yep, are two different ones we use.
Okay.
I like Stripe confusing. A lot. Yeah, I know, exactly. I couldn't remember. I think the other one's like Square. We're like 5 of them. So
yeah.
Depends.
And that's been a pretty good experience for you?
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah.
I hate payment processors. That's why I'm interested. Tell me more, Jim.
Yeah. Well, this one's specific to the insurance industry. I don't know that they do anything outside of that, but
dang it.
So our next, our second partner of the podcast, who we're proud to announce, is ePay Policy, and we've been using them for about 8 years now. I'm only bringing on partners, by the way, who we know, like, and trust, that we do business with. That was something that I think I learned from you. I don't know, but they basically, I mean, they save us tons of time, and really what they do is get payments in the door faster. In the old days, we were, mailing invoices or emailing invoices and just watching our watches and hoping that they paid them, and then following up and, not getting paid. And then now we send them a link and they get the invoice and they can pay it via credit card or ACH. And we've reduced the amount of time. It used to take us on average probably like 5 to 7 business days to get paid with all the follow-ups in there. And I think on average now it's like 6 hours to get paid, which is huge. So it's just speeding up our receivables unbelievably. And they do a lot of other really cool things. But for us, I mean, we would not be where we are today if we didn't collect money using ePay Policy. So super excited to have them on as a partner. So thanks for giving me an outlet to introduce them.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's funny is I found that companies like theirs, where they're so niche specific, is they can serve you at such a higher level. That's why I hate Stripe, to be completely honest. Stripe is like a universal payment system. They are not user friendly. No. It's just, their fees are actually absurd. So I don't really love that. But I've also heard the insurance industry in general is pretty crazy, like as far as the sales cycle, because you can't collect payments half the time. So that's cool. They've solved that problem. I love to see that.
Yeah. By the way, our monthly fee for using ePay Policy, it's tough to swallow. It's $21. Ugh, God, I don't know if we can keep paying that. I mean, these guys, and not only that, they make it stupid easy. Like the interface is just, as you would say, wicked easy to use. So.
Wicked easy. Yeah.
And the branding is good too, because it looks like it's coming from us. So it's awesome.
That's amazing.
All right. One piece of technology or software you can't live without, Josh.
People are going to like love or hate me for this. ClickFunnels, hands down. Like my life is on ClickFunnels. I love
Tell
it
people
because
what that is, because I don't know that everybody in the insurance industry knows.
Most of them probably don't, but truth be told, if you would use a funnel, you'd close a lot more deals. So ClickFunnels, what it is, it's basically a structured website that allows you to guide people through the sales process so you don't have to be the salesperson. And the beautiful thing about it is you can send emails and texts, and you can have affiliate programs, and you can take payments, and you can do like 45 other things all within one platform. To be honest, it's gone down one time in history. That was like the darkest day because everybody's business went down for a day. I probably shouldn't say that when I say it's my favorite tool, but they are incredible and they do a fantastic job. So I love them, and the community is just unparalleled. Definitely.
So that's what our podcast website that you guys host is built on. And I'm curious, as I start launching these courses, if that's something you can either help me with or send me in the direction of somebody that can help me build out some funnels for that, because
100%. We have 5 amazing funnel builders that can do that.
Awesome.
Truth be told is that building the funnel is not that difficult.
Yeah.
It's getting the funnel to convert, right? Learning how to do the copywriting and stuff. That's where I would say don't do it yourself. Like a lot of people try to build their own websites and everything. Don't go pay somebody $20,000 to build your website. They're not that good. We've done it. Never worth it. Yeah. What we have found is if you can find somebody who's a branding expert who can actually say, hey, we will get you a certain cost per acquisition, cost per sale, whatever you want to call it. That's gold. Because once you know, hey, it cost me $100 to land one insurance client and I didn't have to do all this crazy work in between. I mean, it's like how much money can you pour into ads and everything else at that point, right?
Okay. I love it. So
awesome.
You're saying this is actually something that like ClickFunnels is something that insurance agents could use if they want to.
Honestly, I wish more local businesses would. It works so much better than a website, because what will happen, right? People like Google you. Let's do it right now. I'm just going to Google it just for fun, right? I'm going to Google insurance agents in Idaho Falls because that's where I'm located. Please don't hunt me down. Insurance agents in Idaho Falls. It's so funny because when you do this, it's like 5 ads. There's a couple big firms, but it takes me to these stinking websites that are branded based off of like, oh man, I wish I could share my screen and show this to everybody. It's awful. And I don't want to throw this guy under the bus because he's probably listening to your show, but it's like the most unassuming. It's like, hey, here's all these things about insurance nobody cares about.
Yeah.
What a funnel does is it's like, hey, have you ever thought about what would happen if you died? I'm talking life insurance now. Have you ever thought about what happened if you died tomorrow? Right. And this is kind of a scary thing, but marketing, you could literally target people who've had a loved one pass in the last year. Right. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you died?
Yeah.
And then they're like, honestly, no, like I have no plan for it. And it's like, great, come over here. Let me show you without hopping on a call with them. I'm going to show you how to actually protect your family when you die. And it's not going to cost you millions of dollars. I'm talking like $50 a month, right? To take care of your family when you die. Great. Book a time with me, set it up, and you're done, right? That's such a better process instead of being like, here's me, I'm on the billboard, you need insurance, I'm the coolest guy in the town. It's stupid. That's the stupidest form of marketing. I think funnels are just like the way of the future. If local businesses will do this, you will trump your competition. Hands down. I believe it.
I think I'm going to have to talk to you off air about a little bit more about that for our own agency. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
I wish I had a whole agency around that.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. One book that you're reading now or that you've read in the recent past that you want to share with folks that you love.
Yeah, this is a good time to ask me this. I've been reading like 5 different books. I was rereading the Think and Grow Rich, but there's one that I just read. Ed Milet wrote it. It's called Living Forward.
Okay.
This book has like 50 attributions at the beginning from every famous wealthy person you can think of is in this book. It's crazy. Like these guys have more attributions than I've ever seen. It's a New York Times bestseller, but it's about building a life plan. And I thought that was like hokey pokey, like nobody, that's like, yeah, whatever, woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
I love the book. I I've read it through twice because it's like the book itself is like 150 pages, but awesome book. Definitely go read that one.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. One piece of advice you would give to your younger self.
Oh yeah. My bias side to start a podcast sooner, right? But I think the number one thing to me that I would say to myself is focus on value first. Focus on solving somebody else's problems, and your problems will be solved in the process. Yeah. Because I know, like, the younger me, my first business, quote unquote, was when I was like 10 years old, right? And then my first like actual real business was when I was 17. And all throughout that process, it was like, how do I make more money? How do I make more money? How do I make more money? When truth be told, if I just had focused on how do I like solve bigger problems, you'll get paid more. If I had just known that and said, hey, solve bigger problems, your problems will be solved after that. Like, I wish I could deep dive into that concept, but it's a genuine mental shift that I wish I had at a younger age.
I would read your book about that subject if you wrote it.
Hey, there you go.
I love it.
Do you know somebody who's a good book coach?
I do, actually. Her name is Amy Collette. I'll put you in touch with her.
Refer her.
That's awesome. She's going to love it. We'll have to get her to listen to this episode.
I know. I'll send her a tag and be like, go listen to this one. Fantastic.
All right. What would you choose if you were given the option between a bowl of hot, delicious soup or some yummy, scrumptious hot chocolate and gourmet marshmallows?
Oh man, marshmallows for days.
Marshmallows for days.
Even though I love your soup stuff too. It's amazing.
See, this is like cheating because you've already gotten the soup, so now you're gonna get the soup and the marshmallows.
I've got to experience both because that soup was awesome. I'm gonna just shout it out for you again, Jim, because you'll never brag about yourself. You guys have like the coolest host over here. So this guy, he had a baby and he sent us soup. It was glorious. and the coolest thing about the whole soup thing is the ladle that they send with it. They send
Isn't
this,
that
like,
cool?
Quality metal ladle.
I know.
And we still have it. We still use it.
And you weren't
expecting about you every time
it.
I pick up the ladle.
Yeah, I know. You open the box and you're like, wait, a free gift?
Yeah, this is cool. And there's food. Yeah,
it's pretty smart.
To my heart.
Yeah, I love it. And for our listeners, they know they've heard me say it before, but I'll repeat it. If you go to mountainmallow.com and put grow big, as in grow big or go home, into the checkout, you get 15% off your order if you want to go order it yourself. Josh is going to get it for free because he's just a super cool guy.
I mean, that's the real reason why I came on here. So,
wow, how did I know that? Oh man, Josh, this has been awesome. Where can people find more Josh if they want to get more Josh in their life? Josh Tapp.
Yeah, honestly, guys, like we just launched this new group. It's a cohort of podcasters. It's called the Pantheon. So if you go to pantheon.fm, and Pantheon is PANTHEON.FM, we were basically putting together all of the top podcasters online. Jim is on there. He doesn't even know he's on there yet. But it's yeah, we should probably talk about that afterwards. But you guys can access all of the content that we publish, not just myself, but we're bringing together literally, like, we're trying to bring together 1,000 of the world's best humans, and they're all going to be featured here. All of them who have a show, who have something worth sharing. We're bringing that together for your listening and viewing pleasure, but also as a way for you to connect with these amazing people, because we believe they're the brands and the people that need to be heard more.
I mean, staying true to the theme of this episode and mastering your influence by bringing people together. It's brilliant, man. Pantheon.fm.
Yep, that's it.
That's fantastic. Josh, one last piece of advice or actionable step that you would give our audience before we sign off here.
Yes, I love this question. If I could give you one big tip of saying, go out there and do this today, the first thing that I would say is go out and make sure that you provide real value to somebody today. Make one solid connection for somebody else and just watch what happens.
I love it. I love it. You, sir, are a very good human being, and I loved having you on the show. This has been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, you bet. Love having you as a friend, Jim. We're going to bring you here to Idaho, I swear.
Likewise, my friend. Josh, you stick around for me for a second, but for everybody else, grow big or go home.